Welcome. You're now listening to episode 34, Starler Play Football. Myself, Theo and Kojo. He's saying.
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's hot.
It is hot.
It's hot. So
No, it is.
this house is boiling, man. We've got all the windows open. I'm not really a fan person, so I'm trying to avoid using the fan net. But yeah, man, I'm here. What are you saying?
No, man, I'm good. Like you though. Like it's raining here though. It's mad. It's raining, but you know when like it's rain. You know, like you go on holiday sometimes and the rain ain't doing anything. It ain't cooling anything down. It's just still hot and humid. So, but no, I can't complain, man. I can't complain. You know, I'm here, like you said, just doing what I'm doing, man. But anyone who's new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. As I said yesterday, we're going to be doing a series of Premier League previews. I did say Bournemouth yesterday. Clearly, I must have got dropped on my head as a baby because we needed to do Aston Villa today. So we're doing Aston Villa. So Bournemouth will come in the next couple of days or so. We'll have a preview on Bournemouth. But we are talking about Aston Villa, Unai Emery and his team. The first time in the Champions League. I think we have to go back to 1982, the last time they won the old European Cup. Yeah, so they won that. But this is their first time in the new formed Champions League. The first club or one of the first English clubs to test out and trial the new format of the Champions League. Let's just go back to last season, because obviously they done really well to get their top four finish. But they did look very leggy at the end of the season. Were they lucky to get that top four?
No, I would say lucky because they did what they had to do in it. It's the question would be if Spurs had won their games, but Spurs did Spurs. You know what I mean? So obviously last season I think that Spurs were unlucky with the injuries they got. Just key players. It wasn't like one or two players. It was a string of key players. So I understand this side of it, but no, Villa deserves to be where they were. It's just what you said about them being leggy towards the end of the season. It's not that they don't have depth, but Unai Emery, when he's got an 11, he sticks to that 11, and he likes to make these guys come off the bench and do bits here and there when he should be rotating a bit more. But Champions League's around the corner, innit? So he's got no choice now. I mean, he's got added fixture pile up as well. But they've tested Europe. They were okay last year in Europe. This is a big step up. So yeah, man, we'll see what they do, innit?
I think that's a good point though as well, because I'm thinking back to Newcastle. They kind of just jumped from Newcastle, never been in the Champions League to, hadn't been in the Champions League for some time, and then go from Champions League to, playing in it. And I think that kind of was, because there's been a few comparisons that I've seen already where people are saying obviously Aston Villa might struggle like Newcastle did. I think the good thing about Villa is they did have, I know it's a totally different competition, but they did have the Conference League. They got very far in that as well last season, and I think just having those kind of competitions and understanding the different levels of the way that the competition, especially in Europe, is different to how you play in the Premier League as well. I think that might help them. I mean, and we've got to remember Eddie Howe, no disrespect to him, he hasn't had that European taster before. Unai Emery is a seasoned vet when it comes to winning the Europa League and so on. So he's someone that we, Villa is almost a step ahead when it comes to that. But they have obviously lost a couple of key players. Yeah. But they've done really well. I mean, I think they must be one of the clubs that spent the most in Europe this season. I don't know if that's a fact, but they must be up there. Let's talk about Douglas Luiz, who first of all I think he's gone to Juventus, one of their big key signings, someone who I think has been very good for Villa, but I do think dropped off at the back end of the season last season. What's your thoughts on him going to Juventus?
It's an interesting one for me because, like, how do I even explain this? He was such a key player for them in the last 2-3 years, isn't it? So losing a player like that, that's quite monumental. He's not only, in fact, he's not only your best midfielder. He's just a piece taker, free kicks, penalties, corners. So you have to deal with that conundrum. You've got the quality like him in your squad to deliver what he was delivering. All action midfielder as well. Like, obviously, I know we probably get onto their replacement soon, but that's someone that's been a key cog of their team for a while. They almost lost him the last year, I think, to Arsenal.
Yeah,
that obviously fell through. and we saw just how key he was to the team after staying. So that's a big loss, man. It's a big loss. But are you guys in the Champions League this year? They are, no?
Who?
Juve.
Yeah, they should be. They should be.
I think they are. If I remember correctly, they finished top 4.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if they manage to meet each other, that'll be an interesting dynamic. But look, I think he'll be fine in Juve. It's just with Villa, I know they have kind of replaced him already, but I don't know if they've made the right type of replacement. Not the player that being good. The player they've signed in his place is good, but whether he's the right type is the question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a massive. I do feel it's going to be a massive. I mean, look, they've brought in some, which we're going to get onto the incomings in a minute, but they brought in some really good signings. I just think with someone with that much level of experience and understands how Villa play, and like you said, he's someone that's not just a midfielder. He, is a free kick taker. He can take set pieces. I do think they might miss him. Really good money for him, 51.5 million euros. It's a really good.
Oh, and his babes wanted him as well.
Yeah, listen, 2 for 1. I mean, it's
2 for 1.
You buy one, you get one free.
Come on.
But yeah, no, I think he'll be a massive loss. I think another one as well, Moussa Diaby, who I think has only been at the club for 12 months, has moved to Al.
Bloody hell, I forgot about him. Yeah,
Al Ittihad, I think, has gone there, 60 million. Obviously, again, I know Villa, again, with the PSR ruling, 30th of June, they seem to have been able to cope with that. But now they're in this position where they're able to spend a bit, and also due to these incomings, the outgoings as well, 60 million for him. His career kind of fell off a cliff when he went to at the back end of his Villa career.
Yeah, no, it did. It did bad. But you know what? Sorry, my mind's gone blank. Who are we talking about?
Diaby, Moussa Diaby.
Yeah. So he started like a house on fire, and the thing about him is he's such a quick player. So he's hard to deal with, and obviously with him and Leon Bailey on the other sides. But then even with Bailey as well, there was a period of time when he was in and out of the team as well. So it was like what they were missing was that consistency from the wide men, because really and truly it was more central that was doing the business. Obviously Watkins with his goals, Douglas Luiz as we mentioned already. But I will say this: is he confirmed gone now?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, well, they've made a good amount of money for 12 months.
Yeah.
They've made a good amount of money.
They must have made a profit. I think they must have made a profit.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, credit to them. I mean, it's not like they're lacking players in that department. I am a fan of Zaniolo. I am a fan of Zaniolo. Different type of player, not as quick. I'll say slightly more technical, just slightly, because Diaby was good technically as well. So I'm not going to do him a disservice there. But yeah, I think they'll be all right. Based off exactly what you said there, like he's one of the also the players that kind of fell off, that kind of went onto the bench and was a bit inconsistent. Inconsistent players who you make a huge profit on, that's fine.
Yeah,
you don't want to lose Ollie Watkins. You don't want to lose Douglas Luiz. You know what I mean? But you've lost him.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lose Ollie Watkins. You don't want to lose Ezri Konsa, Emiliano Martinez. Those are guys you don't want to lose.
Yeah, it's the spine of the club. Diaby, it's the spine.
Yeah, Diaby, you can afford to lose with all due respect. So I think they'll be fine. But yeah, credit to them, because now you said it was only 12 months as well. I was trying to think how long he's been here. That's good money made for someone that.
It's a massive flip. It's a massive flip for them. They done well there. That's almost 111.5 million for him, Diaby and Luiz. So
wow.
Let's move on to some of the incomings. Obviously they brought Onana from Everton, 59.3 million. Ian Matson from Chelsea, 44 million. Cameron Archer, 16.6 million. Jaden Philogene from Hull, 16 million. Lewis Dobbin, Everton, 11 million. Enzo Berenice, I butchered his name, but defensive midfielder from Juventus, I think he is, so 8 million from there. And obviously they brought Ross Barkley as well. I feel like I'm missing someone off my list.
Oh, yeah.
Samuel Illing Jr., I think they got him as well from Juventus, of all places. Yeah, Juventus, 40 million.
Sorry, who was it they got from Chelsea? They got from Chelsea, you said?
Ian Matson. So Ian Matson was the deal that they got very early. He was
Dortmund.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and it's so strange because they paid over the odds of the release clause, but the way that they've done it is that they've done it over a longer period of time. Almost done the Chelsea model. I think they've signed him on I'm gonna say a 5-year deal. I might have got that wrong. So the length of that deal means that they can spread the cost of the fee over that duration, which means that it would have been better for them to do that as opposed to activate the release clause. So smart business from Villa. It does question now they've got, I think, 5 left backs at the club. So you think maybe Lucadina or what's the other guy? Is it not Carlos? Is it Carlos?
Carlos is centre back, man.
Yeah, he's a centre back.
Yeah, Carlos.
They've got
Yeah.
another. They've got another. Let me find his name. They've got another. They've got 5 left backs at the club,
That's a
including.
lot of left
So
backs.
so one of them's gonna have to go. I think. I mean, Lucadina was very close to going at the end of the start of last season, but
Yeah.
he somehow forced his way back into the team. There has to be some outgoings, I think, from the list I've just reeled off. They need to probably balance the squad a bit. They seem a bit like the Chelsea from last season. Too many players. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, what they do have is variety.
Yeah.
I'll look at it another way. Someone like Digne, someone like Matson can play a bit more further forward than being solely a left back or a left wing back, depending on what formation you want to play. They can play as sort of like left midfielders, even left forwards, sort of just marauding on the side. So they do have variety. They do need to be careful with that balance, though. That is true, because you've given yourself a conundrum. For me, when you sign Matson for 44 million, someone that obviously had a great season at Dortmund, Champions League final, so obviously he was going to make a move.
Yeah.
And we're going to be big if Chelsea didn't keep him, which they didn't. That kind of player, I think you signed to start.
Oh yeah, he's
Just call
got to
a
start, man.
spade.
And you wouldn't
He's
not
got.
start him because he got into the Champions League team of the season. So it shows you how well
There
he
you go.
played last season, and like you said,
There you go.
runner up in the Champions League. He's not there to sit on the bench.
He's not, but again, what you also said about having players like Digne is not someone that will want to sit on the bench. He had to sit on the bench a little bit last season because he came back from some injuries and
Yep.
here and there. But he's a player that wants to set pace in this league. He's not the kind of player that wants to sit back and sit on the bench. So that could be a player that leaves. That could be a big name that leaves them because
Yep.
you have to find the right balance. But they have bought well. Overall as a whole, they have bought well. Onana's the one I'm a bit 50-50 about. Now he's had the chest. Fair play. He's had a chance to come out and say that the football, or the brand of football rather, that he was playing at Everton sort of restricted what he could really do.
I was going to say that.
So we're going to see how much more he's capable of. I think for Belgium, we've seen he can do a bit more on the ball. I'm holding my horses because it's a different thing playing for Belgium where I do call Belgium international Tottenham, but I think they've got a bit more quality around him than he does with Villa. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
But I still think Villa got some quality there. I think they got.
oh no, they do. But I might be wrong in saying this, but I feel like when you put the level of Belgium or at least the midfield together of Belgium and the Villa midfield together, you'd have more quality
Of course,
around him.
You're talking like Kevin De Bruyne and or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the problem. But I'm intrigued regardless, and the reason I'm intrigued is because I want to see if you are that other player. Like we just said, you've lost someone in Douglas Luiz who was not only a strong defensive midfielder, but he got you goals and assists. So he contributed on both levels. So are you gonna take that mantle on? Can you be that guy? I'm not saying you have to be that guy.
Yeah.
It might be a different approach from the manager, but you need to show that you can hold the same level of importance to the team. That's the most important thing, because if you can't do that and you look like they start to miss him a lot, the questions are going to be, do we need to get someone to pair with Onana? Was Onana the right signing? We don't want to do that conundrum. You don't want to have all those questions around you. So that's the only signing I'm a bit 50-50 about. Lewis Dobbin from Everton, quite frankly, that's just Mandem giving Mandem money.
To be fair, he's a good player.
He is.
I don't see him. I don't see him obviously coming into that Villa team and be playing against, I don't know, Bayern Munich or whoever they get in the Champions League. But I think when you look at a Carabao Cup, you look at maybe Leicester. no disrespect to these clubs that I'm naming, but those teams where you might want to rest some of your players, you got a crucial game coming up in the new format of the Champions League. I think Lewis Dobbin can fit in there. I think he scored against us actually last season.
He did.
He
He
scored
did
at
it, yeah.
Stamford Bridge, I'm sure it was, but he's a good player. I like him. I think, and for the fee as well. But I get your point. It was you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Yeah. When I say these things, it's not on the players. I have no issue with the players. We just know what the game is.
The game is the game.
Because facts. The game is the game. The game is the game. Even my Spanish sources told me, El Juego es el juego. The game is the game, man. You gotta hold that. One of them ones where you just gotta run the game. And truth be told, when I heard them man complain about PSR and calling Man United, Liverpool, and Arsenal the red cartel, I knew what was up.
Yeah.
I knew what was going on.
They're involved now.
I don't hate the game. I don't hate the game, man. Yeah, man. I don't hate the game, man. The man just said, like, cool, we gotta run our own thing. Run your thing.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is this. It's separate from what we're talking about. But if PSR comes for your neck, don't come looking for us.
Come on, come on.
Yeah,
come on. You gotta hold your own. You gotta hold your own at that point.
Hold that.
Yeah,
hold that.
Of course. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing Dobbin. I think Dobbin will do well. And I do get your point about Onana. I do think it's just not that it is a step up actually, because I think the last 2 seasons at Everton, he's been looking at the other end of the table, relegation, that side of things. I do like the fact that he is a player that likes to drive forward with the ball, and he isn't scared to take on players, and he does chip in with goals. I do like that about his game. Another player that I think will be good for set pieces for Aston Villa. You think back to they've lost a bit of height, obviously with Tyrone Mings being out for last season. I think he'll add to that. You think about corners, free kicks, someone in the box, aerial threat. I think he will be that person, but. And I think he must have European experience when he was at Lille. I think he must have played either in the Champions League or the Europa League there.
To be fair, likely, yeah.
Yeah, he must have done. So I think bringing him in makes sense. I think the fee was a bit much, but again, it helps Everton. And they sent a player their way as well. I think they send someone for some youth player to Everton as well for like 20 million. So
hey man,
the game is the game. The game is the game.
Is the game indeed, bro.
One player I'm looking forward to do, and I think this is a really good bit of business, is Ross Barkley, who I thought was outstanding for Luton, and for him to get another chance, albeit at Aston Villa. I think he was down loan before, was he not? He was, I think.
Oh yeah, he was shortly. Yeah, you're right. Bloody hell.
Yeah, so
bloody hell, yeah.
So for him to get another shot at a club where he's got a bit of experience with them, or a bit of history, he's now back in the Champions League as well. I'm kind of happy for him, because he kind of, again, his career kind of derailed when he was at Chelsea, and now he's back. Looks like he's enjoying his football. I think I said that, remember, we was picking our Euro squads for England, but he looks like a player that will bring some creativity in that midfield for Villa.
Okay, before I continue, firstly, I got to apologise to Ross Barkley, because I was definitely one of many that said this guy is done.
He's finished.
And the reason I said it was done is because when he went to France and it didn't work out, I thought, I've seen this story before when they end up in Cyprus or Greece. Shout out still.
I was just about to say, make sure you back yourself up here, because you'll have still coming for you.
We've been here before, you know what I mean? So I was like, it's a bit techie, but not to Ammonia though. Ammonia got class in it. I'm talking about other teams. I mean, throw a young Aris in there or something, but he's rejuvenated himself big time. He's rejuvenated himself big time. When he moved, Luton did a tweet which kind of epitomized it. They said that you guys thought he was done. He came here, found himself, found his legs, got back to his best form, and he deserved the move. And I think that's correct. Because we ended the season saying that he could fit in at Villa, he could fit in at Tottenham, he could fit in this team, he could fit in that team. That's testament to show, saying that essentially the ability's always been there. Maybe he just need to find himself. Maybe there's a bit of a mental block. Maybe he just needed the environment where he could really just be himself again. And Luton looked like they provide that with him, with Ross Edwards as well. So yeah, they did their job with him as well. So kudos to them. But I'm happy for him. And him being a good signing, I agree, because when Ross Barkley is at his best, technically he's sound, he can create chances, he's got a mean right foot, He can even use his left foot as well. He's slightly double-footed.
Yeah.
He's one of those players that you love to have in attacking areas. And the one thing I will say that I liked about him when he was coming through Everton and a little bit at times at Chelsea, it was very rare because obviously he didn't work out at Chelsea. His decision making is good.
Oh yeah,
He's not
100%.
one of those. Yeah, he's not one of those creators that you can see the passes on and they just choose to shoot instead, and you're like, why? He tends to make the right decision 8 times out of 10, and I think that for me is the most important thing. So, yeah, that's a key signing. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that can be someone that will set pieces for them. So
Yeah, no, he's there. He's there. I think it's a
yeah,
really good signing for the. I think 5.9 million euros is a really good signing for for Villa and for Ross Barkley, and it gives him another opportunity to play at the top level. Like I think any footballer, that's their dream, to just play at the top level. I'm not saying that Villa are going to win the Champions League, but I would not be surprised with the manager that they have if they could go very far.
yeah,
This new format, I think it's the first 8 go through. I think it's the
yeah.
teams from 9 to 24. I think that go into the sort of double leg knockout stage. So
Knockouts.
they've
Yeah.
got a good if they get a good little run, it could happen for us. Do you know what I mean? He could be
And
coming over.
you're not facing big boys all the time. You're facing
Exactly.
teams that you can beat,
Exactly.
get enough points, and you're suddenly in the knockouts. Just like that is doable, and they
Exactly.
should go for it. Like,
Exactly.
they got a good team. They got a good team. So why not?
You just made a good point, though. I was going to bring up that when you spoke about Ross Barkley and the creativity side and creating chances, they now really only have Ollie Watkins I suppose, as an out-and-out striker. I know Cameron Archer can play there, who they signed from Sheffield United. I think he was down loan last season, though, was he not?
He was. But on that striker situation, what's happening with this Duran guy?
So,
Because
I think he'll be an outgoing. I think they still need to look at offloading certain players, and I think he will go. Chelsea have been linked with him. I think West Ham made a bid for him, which was rejected in the 30 million region. But he's someone that I don't think will fit into. I don't think he'll fit into Unai Emery's plans. And I think they'll still want to try and offload and downsize. My worry is that there isn't really anyone out and out striker. Ollie Watkins
yeah,
look, Ollie Watkins done amazing last season. I can't remember if it was 20 plus or 18 goals he scored last season. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he done well last season. He proved himself that he's a top number 9 striker. Now, if he gets injured or you want to rest him because of the Champions League, or you got that busy fixture coming up, who you put in there? Because you ain't got no one to fill that void. And I think that's my only worry with Villa, that they're heavily stacked in certain areas like left back. I think even their midfield could potentially lose 1 or 2 players, might need to go on loan. But the forward looking, that the attacking side of things, they look a bit weak. And I just think that
yeah.
might come back to haunt them.
Well, that's why I was also asking about John Duran, because it seems like from what I was reading, West Ham don't want to pay the full amount of what they want. Or on another side, I was reading like so that Villa may keep moving the goalposts. So whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if they do sell him, they're doing a striker. I've always been a fan of having 3 or 4 strikers in my club, regardless of whether we're playing 1 or 2 up front. I don't care. You need options. The 4th guy can be a youngster. That's fine by me, but you just need those options. So if they do sell him, they should be in the market for another striker. But yeah, you make a point. I don't know who. I can't recommend anybody.
They might have
Last
someone
week.
they could have someone in the youth team. I don't know. I'm not that close to Villa's youth
No,
setup.
they could do, but I hope they find somebody, because last week I was what club was I talking about? I was talking about I felt talking about Spurs, and I said, yeah, if they don't get guy Gig Corres, or however you say his name, from
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 Sporting.
Sporting, because he's the only one that really has a big following in the market. Sesko going to stay at Leipzig, so there's no
He
point in
signed the
looking
deal
there.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, the only person that came to my mind at that time for some reason was Ben Burton Diaz, and even he's going to Southampton. So,
Yeah, he's gone there now.
so
He's gone to Southampton.
yeah, so that and the reason I say his name is because I was just lost for number 9s. So yeah, I don't know. That's a conversation you need to have another day on this show, because this off tangent very quickly. I've taken a little gander back into coaching.
Okay.
And what I noticed at a club, I'm not going to mention the name, but they have a good like system of getting players into top academies in the UK. um, but they're not producing number nines. And this is from the under sevens all the way to under what is it 14? Damn it, under 14s. None of them have a number nine because no one wants to be a
They
number
don't
nine
want to. They
anymore.
don't want to be
They
that.
want to be wide.
It's an old-fashioned position, though, isn't it? Because now,
Yeah,
we were talking about in the group chat though, like the way tactics are now, you can a lot of teams try and play without that number nine. And I'm old school, so I'd if it was me, there's times I play two strikers. I'm just being honest. I'd put two up
fact.
front.
No,
Do you know what I
fact.
mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there isn't. I think I said it either on here or someone else, but there isn't that many good. I think I said it last night. There isn't that many good strikers.
No, it's dying breed.
Dying breed.
Unfortunately,
Dying
dying
breed.
breed. And we grew up on a litany of
List.
strikers. We had abundances of
The
strikers.
list was
You
endless.
know, honestly,
And it was all quality as well. It wasn't like I know there were some shit ones. I'm not saying they were all amazing
oh yeah,
strikers,
of course, yeah.
but we had hitters in front of goal. Just in the Premier League as well. I'm not talking about like Serie A, La Liga, or Bundesliga or further afield. Just in the Premier League, literally every club from 1 to 10 had at least a decent striker that would still bag goals. I'm not saying they won every game or they were pushing for the league, but they still had the goal scorers in the team.
Yeah, but even from 11 to 20, like even if they weren't top class
Or
strikers,
Championship or League One. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that there was a window for every club to find somebody
Yeah.
to join their club. There was no matter like Man United could go to Fulham and look for Saha,
Yes.
and Middlesbrough could go to Italy and get macaroni in the league. Like there was someone for everyone.
There's a pool of strikers that you could just go look at and see who you wanted.
Man.
But I do think that's I mean, I said it last night. We spoke about Arsenal. I think Aston Villa have to do some business there. I think they still need to offload certain players, but I think they need to look at that striker option because Ollie Watkins, when he's missing or injured out the team, I should say, I think he's going to leave a massive void going forward. And I think this season, which we're going to get onto now, but this season, I still think Villa fans will. It's still, even though they're in the Champions League, they're still going to expect a top 7, top 6, possible top 4 finish again. Even top 5 might get you Champions League again. So, they're going to still want that. They're not going to want to be finishing 10th and 11th. But that could be the reality, more so because of the Champions League, but also if they don't have another striker.
Yeah, no, and this is the reality you got to work with now because unfortunately for you, other clubs have a lot more experience in dealing with European football and Champions League like that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, they did very well in the Conference League. Being in the Conference League, going that far, so you're playing Thursday nights and then finishing top 4, that's something to be commended. So they can do Champions League. I will say it's stupid that Champions League are now allowed against to be played on Thursday as well. Very dumb, but anyway.
Don't like that.
Yeah, but they don't care about players; they only care about money in it. So it is what it is. I think they can find their balance. Their issue this season is the fact that teams around them, just like any other year, are just trying to improve to get into those positions. Man United have already signed 3 players,
and you haven't
Chelsea
finished yet.
have signed.
You haven't finished yet, have you? Really?
You haven't finished yet. Chelsea have signed the whole of Brazil
and Argentina.
and Argentina. Spurs are looking to do business. They've done some business here and there already.
West Ham's done some really good
West
business.
Ham as well. And West Ham have bought well.
Yeah.
People are not paying attention, but West Ham are buying very well. And some of these teams, because they're not going to be in Europe, they have that luxury of that extra week of rest. And it's big because footballers are tired now. The day that we start talking about footballers being athletes is because of the fact that they're playing so many games.
Yeah.
I will say this. Back in 99, when United won the treble, we've played the second most games in league history behind Liverpool when Liverpool won the league their year. So it's not an alien thing, but the way players get injured a lot more these days, and I say these days because people really pay attention, and you have to pay attention to the smaller clubs in particular as well. There's a lot of muscle injuries. Forget about the big teams. Look at the smaller teams. There's a lot of injuries here and there, and they play through it, but it's not a good thing. They just play through it because they want to play. They're playing injured. It's not good. I think they just need to be wary of that. So that's why it's good to have that depth. But look, I think they'll be fine. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say next because I think you're going to ask the questions. So I'm not going to.
No, say it, man. I might not.
Oh, yeah, I was just talking about their league finish.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Because what I want to do, I want to talk about like Unai Emery and his like. So I'm thinking back to when Steven Gerrard, because you got to remember, I think Unai Emery took over in November 2022, and you
Yeah,
think when
yeah,
Steven Gerrard was there, they were 17th in the league. They were looking at relegation. They couldn't see where the next win was going to come from, and Unai Emery's come in, obviously organized everything, got the team playing sort of more with a better defensive structure, quicker transition of the ball. You know, essentially the midfield is there with any club is their engine, but for him, he seems to have, before obviously Douglas Luiz left, he had that balance in that midfield with Kamara was there as well.
yeah.
Can you see him changing things tactically with some of these signings that have come in now, that he might need to tweak certain things? I'm thinking about maybe Matson, who can play higher up the field as well as the left back. You might be able to. Does he change things formation wise as well?
I think he's got to. I think he's got to, and that's the reason why I would personally not even, unless they've got a plan for another striker, I wouldn't sell Durant unless it's for about 40, 50 million pounds. Because that's where you can really think about how to structure deals properly. Obviously, you mentioned one of the deals they did where they've paid just over the odds. Matson, didn't it? Wasn't it? They
Yeah,
paid
yeah,
just
yeah.
over the odds.
They paid slightly
Yeah.
over. I think
What?
it's like 10
Yeah.
million extra.
Yeah, that's Man United went, I think, 2 or 3 million over the Xerxes deal because they wanted to spend more in the window and bring in more players. It's smart business. I respect that. They need to do that. And again, not only for depth, but like you said, it's the tactical flexibility. When you're playing in Europe, you're playing different teams, you're playing different styles. So forget about now, worrying about just who you're going to play on a Sunday, but that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is very important now, very important. And if you are going to progress and you're going to make some money for the club as well, progressing in the Champions League, you still have to use your squad. So I think it's important that he knows how to play different styles. That's why I'm intrigued by Onana. Again, I'm going to bring that name up again because you can't. I don't think you can play the same style with him and Douglas Luiz. They're different players. So I'm intrigued to see what kind of approach he has, and I'm going to be looking at them very closely for the first 4 weeks of the season because that's obviously 4 weeks before the international break.
Yeah.
I want to see what kind of approach they have to games, and what idea they have when using their squad. It's a big year for them. It's a big year. Villa genuinely have the possibility and the ability to certify themselves in the top four again.
Yeah, it's true.
And it wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be a shock. They've got a good manager who's shown that tactical flexibility with Sevilla
Yeah.
in the past. So, it's something to work on.
Yeah.
It's something to work on. And the one thing I will say they've done well with him that Arsenal didn't do, sorry Basil, but Arsenal didn't do, is from the beginning where he came in and at Arsenal he said that he wanted Zaha.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
said, we're going to lose Zaha, you're going to get Pepe. And that didn't work out because Pepe is not the kind of Pepe and Zaha are two different type of wingers. Point blank period.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see why he wanted Zaha and not Pepe. So it's a good thing that they've backed him in the window because you can see immediately what he's done for Villa straight away. So no matter how much they fell off, it didn't really matter in the long way. They achieved what they set out to do and they're fine. So yeah, if they're gonna have a good year, tactical flexibility is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And he's got to find a way to get it done. You're gonna get Tyrone Mings back as well at defense. So you got him, you got Carlos, you got Torres,
Martinez and goal.
you got Konsa. Oh man, you got options, man. And my favorite Polishman, Matty Cash.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. No, they have
there you
they got it. I feel like that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a case of, apart from the striker, I think now for me, if I was a Villa fan, I'd want to see some outgoings. Maybe that's on loan, maybe that's permanent sales, but I think I'd want to see some players that might not necessarily be in the manager's plans. Move them on early.
Yeah.
Get your
Exactly.
first 11. Get your, like you said, tactically how you want to change things throughout the game. Get your plan A, plan B, plan C's ready, because it's going to be a long season for them. But just before you wrap up, I want to talk about two things. Two players. Firstly, player to watch and star player for Villa.
Okay. Player to watch will be Matson.
Yeah.
I don't think the league's actually ready for what this guy can bring to the team. And I think if you give him 2 or 3 years, he can become one of the best left backs in the league. When I say that, I mean it won't surprise me if after a year or two, Villa are fielding bids, knowing that probably an 18, 90 million pound bid will come
Oh yeah,
from
yeah.
I don't know Liverpool, is in terms of replacing Robertson at some point. Man United, because Shaw is slightly 29, where we're looking at it, you know what I mean? Like there will be bids coming in, so he's going to be my player to watch. Oh no, he's going to be my star player.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Actually,
your
player
star
to
player.
watch. Yeah, he's my star player. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I think he could be the key. He could be the key to them
He's
exploding
got the
even further.
experience. He's got the experience.
Yeah, and I think in Ollie Watkins, who is very one of the very few number nines we have left that we think we rate. Having someone like that on the left side that can whip balls for you is a dream come true.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something to think about. Player to watch. Jacob Ramsey.
Yeah, yeah.
Hear me out.
No, no, I agree. I think it's a good one.
Oh no, but not because of how talented he is, but I don't want to say he hasn't broken through. He has broken through into the first team. He's a first team player, but I think he needs to hold down the place in that midfield point back period, or he might become replaceable. So he's a player to watch in that sense. Let's see what he does. I think this might be the year to really take the midfield by the scruff of the neck and say, "This is my midfield. This is my team. I'm here, and I'm the future." If he doesn't, the way they're buying players at that club now, and they're in the Champions League, and if they make the Champions League again,
Yep.
they're very attractive to other players as well. I'm just saying, keep an eye out. He's a good player. He's talented,
No,
but
he's 100%.
yeah,
I've asked that
yeah.
question to you, and now I'm sat here sort of debating it myself. But my player to watch will be Morgan Rogers, who,
Ooh,
yeah, he had
yeah,
like
yeah.
I think he's got to be 22. I think so. He's still relatively young, but when he the back end of last season, Unai Emery was getting the best out of him, just the best. He just not walked into the squad, but he was one of those players that almost helped drag them over that line, make sure they got the fourth position finish
Yeah.
last season. So I think for me, he's one of the best youthful projects that they've got at the club. And I think if he can have a good start to the season, we might see a lot more than we expect of him. He might keep some other players, potentially some that they've just signed as well at the squad. Because I looked at him last season and I thought, really good player, really good on the ball. His passing is brilliant, and he gives them another option going forward as well. So I'm going to go for him as my player to watch. My star player, I'm actually going to go for Leon Bailey this season. I know he had a
Okay.
I know he had a bit of an up and down season last year. One thing I think will probably have helped him, he's had a long period of rest. He didn't go to the Copa America with Jamaica. So
Yeah.
although he was partying from what I got to see, so I don't know how much he's
All
been
right.
resting. If that's his
This,
rest,
this 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 might hurt some people, but listen, he might as well have not gone anyway. It was shocking. It
yeah,
was
it was.
shocking.
It
So
was. I was watching the
um,
games. I was thinking, are them pictures smaller? And I googled it, and the pictures were no, they made the pictures as small as possible.
yeah,
They
they
made them
did.
as small
Yeah,
as
they did.
possible. So I was like, yeah, this is crazy. But no, I think Leon Bailey. I know obviously the obvious one would be like Ollie Watkins. I think John McGinn's another good shout as well. He's what to expect from him. But I feel like Leon Bailey more so as well has to kind of step up a bit more this season now.
Yeah.
I just think there's qualities in him. Obviously, that's why he went to Villa previously from his time in the Bundesliga. But yeah, for me, Leon Bailey not only has to step up, but I think he will have a good season.
I'm intrigued by that as well. Actually, I'm intrigued by that because he's actually so talented. He's another one that's good at set pieces as well.
Yeah, he's good, man.
He got ability there, man. He okay. Let's see. Let's see if he finds that consistency. Let's see
That's all he
because
needs. If he gets that,
yeah,
he should go. He should go flying this season. But if he's in and out the team, or he picks up an injury, or he has a really because I find with him he has really good games, and then he'll have 2 or 3 games where he either comes on as a sub, but he doesn't really impact the game, or he starts the game and he doesn't really impact it, and then he gets subbed off. and
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
goes missing too much in games for me. And I think if he can just keep consistently stay at a level where, you know, the manager can't really not put him in the team, he's assisting Ollie Watkins, or he's going on and he's taking on the defenders and he's getting the ball in, he's cutting in and he's creating chances. I think he will be the difference whether Villa finish 4th or 10th. Because Ollie Watkins will have to score another 20 goals this season. That's a given if they want to get, you know,
right.
Champions League again or whatever, or they want to go far in the Champions League. He's going to have to be on fire. He's going to have to be the Harry Kane level of scoring.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
have to be. So someone else is going to have to help contribute with them goals, and it has to be both flanks. And Bailey's going to have to be on one of them, and he's going to have to be him.
yeah, yeah.
So
And yeah, you know, you're right. And exactly with Douglas who easily leaving as well, you need that mantle taken.
yeah,
And if not the striker, it's got to be the forwards. It's got to be someone on the right or the left that's going to take it. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. It's pressure, but boy, that's if you want to play the Champions League, that's what you got to do in it. So yeah,
we'll see.
I hear that.
We're going to
I
get
hear
on
that.
to obviously yesterday. I think me and Basil said third for Arsenal. You said
Yeah,
first. You kept the pressure on. You said you're keeping the
I'm
pressure
applying
on.
the pressure. I'm
Applying
applying
the
the pressure.
pressure.
What is it? If they come back to me and if Arsenal finish if Arsenal finish fifth, and people come to me and say, "Oh, you finished," you said first. I'm like, you don't understand. I didn't say that to big up Arsenal. I'm not an Arsenal fan. We're not doing that
Yeah,
here.
it's true. No,
I'm going to use that against Arsenal.
I hear what
You
you're
guys
saying.
were second last year, and you're finishing fifth. What's happening here? Wake up! Wake up!
The, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Villa will finish fifth this season.
Fifth.
I reckon they'll miss out on the Champions League, or they might not, but they won't finish in the top 4. I think it could actually be even lower than that. I do feel that the Champions League might be a massive weight on their shoulders this season, but I believe in Unai Emery, and I'm going to say fifth for them. I'm trying. The thing with doing this like how we're doing it, I've got to remember who we still got to record about, and I don't want to leave. I don't want to take a space for someone, and then go, oh no, I wanted to put that team there. So I'm trying to preempt who I might put where. But I think fifth.
Draw a table up for yourself. So
I'm
you
going to
got
do that
Arsenal third
tonight.
already.
I'm going to do that
Yeah,
tonight.
you guys fifth. Me personally, yeah, man, they hit seventh.
Seventh. Okay.
I think that those seventh is not a bad year for them. I think they'll still be fine,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they'll be seventh this year.
Yeah, we'll have to get Damon and Basil's prediction for Villa. Keep the table going. I don't want anyone to be missing out on this. We're gonna see who's gonna get this right or as close to right by the end of the season in May. But yeah, get involved as well in the comments. Make sure you let us know where you think Villa will finish. Have they done enough in this transfer window so far? Do they need to add more players or get rid of some of these players that they've got on their list? How well will Unai Emery do in the Champions League? As I said, the first time I think Villa have been in the new format of the Champions League. When I say the new format, since the old European Cup, since they won it 1982. And yeah, let us know what you think. I think the next episode will actually be Bournemouth. So Bournemouth fans, if you love the Vitality Stadium and you love Bournemouth, the next episode is for you. I think if I've got my geography right and my alphabetical order right. So don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you follow the social.